Okay, so I decided to go through the question, the Peacock example in video because I kind of like mentioned them when we have the flower self-crossing example, and I think that's one of the important example, and this is relative complex, so I just want to go through that in a video. So this is in lecture slide number 11. You can find that the title is Mechanism Driving Evolution. Is in page 30. So I will not showing you the question itself. It just tells you one, that's the page titled Evolution Due to Selective Mating. So that's a peacock example. All right. So basically it says the starting population is 100 LL, 200 LD, and 20 DD adults, right? The LL genotype will give you the most bright, beautiful plumage tail. So you have LL genotype, you have the LD genotype, and you have the DD genotype, right? Three of the genotype. That's the brightest, that's medium, and that's a dull tail, right? And the question also tells you that the individuals from the same genotype, they tends to mate with the individual who has share the same genotype. Basically, we observe quite a lot in this phenomenon, right? Because, like we said in class, organisms with similar like genotypes, they tends to mate with each other. Okay, and because the same organism with like genotype, meaning they will have similar phenotypes and they tends to like each other and mate with each other. So that's how this happens. And then we also talked in class that they individuals with same genotypes, they mate with the same genotype, although not everyone mate and or produce, right? Even though they mate, their the numbers of offspring that they produce is not the same, right? Not every one of them from the genotype get to mate, right? So not everyone get to mate and to reproduce, and even though they reproduced, the number of offspring can differ, right? Okay, so let's look at the question. The genotype LL is 100 of them, and LD is 200, and DD is 20. And the question also tells you that the female and male ratio is 1:1. So you have half male and half female for each of the genotype. So for the LL genotype, 100 individuals, since you have 1:1 ratio female to male, you will have 50 male and 50 female. So this one you will have 100 male and 100 female. This one you have 10 male and 10 female. So that's what we know, right? So that will make 50 couples for the LL genotype and 100 couples for the LD genotype and 10 couples for the DD genotype. In the flower question, we don't need to couple them up because each flower have the capacity to selfing with themselves and making offspring. Okay, so you don't need to calculate couples, but for animals, they have to being coupled up to make babies, so we need to calculate that way. So okay, let's see. So for the adult generation, it asks you to compare the allele frequency of the adult generation to the next generation. That's the adult generation, right? And for the adult generation, we have 320 total individuals, and that's 640 total alleles. So for calculating the allele frequency, adult allele frequency, you have been really familiar with that right now, right? So L, you calculate that, that's 100 LL times 2 plus the 200 LD, each will give you only one L allele, right? And that's adding up, that's 400 L allele. And the total allele number is 640. So you take that number and you calculate that. That's 0.625. That's the allele frequency for the L allele. And now you calculate the D. So 20 DD, each will give you 2 D allele, and you have 200 MD LD, each will give you 1. So that's 240, and then you take that number divided by 640, that's 0.375. So that's the allele number for D. Those add up to 1, right? Okay, so that's the adult allele, adult generation allele frequency. Now we need to look at the next generation. Next generation, we need to see how many individuals are there, right? The question tells you that each couple makes 2 babies. Okay. Each couple makes 2 babies. So that gives you, for the LL, they have 50 couples, and each of them gives you 2 babies. And that's 100 babies. And the LD gives us 100 couples, and each gives you 2 babies. And that's 200 babies. And the DD gives you 1 couple. So only 1 couple get to mate, right? Is that says in here? Yeah, only 1 couple gets to mate. You know, even though we have like 10 couples here, but only, even though we have 10 couples here, but the question says only 1 couple gets to mate. Like we said, not everyone get the chance to mate, right? So for the dull tail peacock, only 1 couple gets successfully mating, and that gives 2 babies. So that's 2 babies. Okay. Okay. Now we know the LL individuals second generation will have 100 babies. Right. So from the LL cross, if you do that, you will find everyone is LL. So these are 100 babies. All of them are LL. And same thing for the DD, right? If you do the crossing for DD, you'll find everyone here is DD. So these 2 babies definitely is DD. The only thing that you need to look at is these 200 babies, because LD, you have to do the Punnett square here, right? You don't have to show the Punnett square to me when you take the exam, though. You just need to know this 1:2:1 ratio. So that means you have 50 of them, a quarter of the 200, right? 50 of them is the LL, 100 of them is the LD, 50 of them is DD, right? So that's, adding those up, you get the second generation. So the second generation, the LL genotype is going to be 100 LL plus the 50 from the heterozygous crossing. And LD, that's 100, and then DD is going to be from, you know, this crossing plus the 2 from the DD's crossing. Okay, so that's the individual numbers for generation 2, and then you do the calculation. So that's the Peacock example.